Hey guys, welcome to the second video or the second video in the series of The 4 Seasons of Marriage by Gary Chapman. It's a book that Chris and I just recently read together, and we just want to share our insights on what we learned while we were reading the book, and not giving away, a lot of details of it, but just kind of giving some bits and pieces that may help you in your season of marriage. So if you missed the first video, you can check it out on our Instagram page, in our stories. You can also check it out on our Facebook page, and you can also check it out and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chris and Leisha Hayes. So this video is going to talk about the season of winter, and the winter season is the worst season that a marriage can be in. So I want to get the bad season out of the way, but I also want to make you aware of some of the actions and things like that of what a winter marriage would look like, so you can be aware of it. So let's talk about, what do we think about when winter is coming? How do we feel about winter? Just the regular season. So we think, oh, it's cold, it's bitter, it's icy, it's harsh. Those temperatures are really, really cold. Places are shut down. Cities are shut down, schools are closed. Sometimes, your job may be on a delay. Winter is a lot harder to live in than summer. So life is just a little bit harder in the winter than it is in the summer. And then we want to think about, how do we dress in the wintertime? We cover up, we put on extra clothes, we put on our hats, our gloves, our scarves. We're really bundled up and we're protecting ourselves from the cold element. And that's basically what we do in a winter marriage. We tend to protect ourselves and our feelings from our spouse when we shouldn't. We should be sharing and opening our feelings and our feelings to our spouse. So a conversation when you are in a winter marriage is all about logistics of life or logistics of your household. So when you find yourself just talking about, what time are you going to pick the kids up? Who's going to drop them off? What time is dinner going to be ready? What time should I be home? What time, things just to make the household go. That's when you're in a winter season. When you start talking about the relationship and the problems that you have in a relationship, and that conversation ends in an argument and it's unresolved, you start living independently. You are in the same household, but you pretty much do your own thing. Your spouse does their own thing. Those are signs that you are in a winter marriage. So the fastest way to get to the winter marriage is not wanting to consider your spouse's perspective when it comes to the difficulties that you guys face together. And I talked about some of those difficulties in the first video. When you don't want to compromise your differences, that's the fastest way to get into the winter marriage. And then you start blaming each other for why your marriage is in that season. So how long does a winter season last? When does it start? It really all depends on you and your spouse. Your winter season can last for a day, or it can last for 10 years. It can start 20 years into your marriage, or it can start 2 weeks after the wedding. So it really all depends on you and your spouse. So in the first video, I talked about there's 3 things that will determine how long you stay in a season and the transitions that you make into a season. Those 3 things are your emotions, your attitudes, and your actions. So when we talk about emotions, the emotions of winter, hurt, anger, disappointment, and those things will start to turn into loneliness and that feeling of rejection. The attitudes of winter is negativity, discouragement, frustration, and hopelessness. You know, you start to hear yourself say, "Oh, I wish he wouldn't do that," or "I wish she would do this." When you start to hear yourself or your spouse say those things, that's a sign that your marriage is in the winter season. And then we have the actions of winter. So think about how we react in winter if the first snow and your friend called you up and was like, "Hey, come have drinks with me." And you're like, "Oh no, it's snowing outside. I'm not going." You avoid that element. You avoid the element of the snow. Like, no, I'm not going to drive out in the snow. It's icy. The roads aren't clear. It's too cold. You give all these excuses as to why you can't do something or why you're avoiding this element. That's the same thing in a winter marriage. So your actions of a winter marriage sometimes can become destructive. They can become, you start speaking harshly to each other, or even worse, not speaking at all. So if you have any of those actions or those attitudes or emotions, your marriage is in the winter season. But you have to be aware of it. So the positive side of a winter marriage is there is a way out, and it begins with hope. So I'm going to compare it to having a cold. You have a cold, you catch a cold. First sign, you're not feeling well. You may have a fever or your body aches, things like that. What are you going to do? You may go lay down for the day. I'm like, you know what? I'm done for the day. I'm just going to lay down. I'll feel better in the morning. You wake up the next morning, you're still not feeling good. What are you going to do? Are you going to lay there for a whole week until it passes over? Or are you going to take action? Are you going to go to your medicine cabinet and find some medicine? Or are you going to pick up that phone and call your doctor and make an appointment with your doctor? You're going to fix whatever is wrong with you. You're going to try to fix it. So if you are in that winter season, you need to fix it. Talk to a marriage counselor, talk to a pastor, talk to some of your other married friends. They can probably help you get out of this winter season. So another positive thing when you are in the winter season is making it through the process of healing. So when you make it through that process of healing, you start to rediscover your relationship roots. So you start to feel like, okay, this is why we fell in love. This is why we got married. You rediscover what brought you guys together. Your faith is stronger, and you even may see growth in your own character and your own within yourself. So I have a quote from the book, and I'm going to read it directly because I don't want to mess it up. And I thought this was a good way to end on a positive note from the winter season, because it is such a negative season. So when two people choose to love again, the melting of the ice of winter will water the seeds of spring, and winter has served its purpose. So we all have to go through winter. We have to. But our actions, our attitudes, and our emotions is going to determine how long we stay in that season. And once that ice starts to melt from winter, that water is going to go right into spring. It's going to nurture and plant those seeds to get you into that spring season. So I'm going to end it there on a good note, but I do want to ask for your opinions or for you to share your experiences with us in the comments. Have you ever been in a winter season? How did it make you feel? How did you get out of it? What would you have done different? Or are you in that season now? And so drop us a comment because we want to learn from each other. And I think that's the best way to learn, is to hear each other's experiences and what real people go through in life. So until then, the next season we'll get into is our spring season. Talk to you later.